knows very well, and that's lacrosse, the more indoor style. It's a higher pace and definitely a little bit different technique and philosophy. Much is translated to the same way as soccer goes from outdoor to indoor.
And something you'll hear a lot of these guys talk about time and time again, playing indoor on a field that's this size. Baltimore's done a good job maintaining possession early on midfield, but still well away from taking a true shot. So Danza will set it up.
Yeah. Of the Kings.
Pacheco with it. And now Salisbury will slow it down. The first friendly. Josh Danza with it. Loose. Now Salisbury maintaining more possession. You're used to in hockey, so now it'll be 5 field players for Salisbury compared to just 4 for Baltimore for the next couple of minutes. A great chance for the Steaks.
Yeah, and these are just like hockey, these are the scenarios where you have to take advantage of being a man up.
The first man advantage opportunity of the game for Salisbury. Odie Johnson lets it fly. It bounces towards the front. Danza continues to apply pressure.
Yeah, just miscommunication that time. Really good spacing so far from the Kings here in this little zone defense that they're running.
Still with the advantage.
And now you got to try to reset up that zone defense.
That one sent from the outside. Kurtulis goes down to stop it. Burnell Clark was waiting for a rebound. Kurtulis didn't allow one.
Yeah, absolutely love the idea there of trying to get Burnell Clark the ricochet bounce opportunity.
Danza trying to keep that ball rolling long enough to get to Palatar. Instead, it's
Don tried to reset, but he wanted to take advantage of the number opportunity they had.
On the far side, Colombo.
Wow. And trying to cover so much ground there.
And Kurtulis threw that one into the netting, so we'll have a brief stoppage here with under 7.5 to play in the opening quarter.
It's a good opportunity, especially for the Kings and the squad that they have with limited numbers of guys in the traveling roster today to kind of catch their breath and reshake up that opportunity.
Yeah, timeout taken on the floor, so each team will head off for a moment. These two teams ready to go, and Josh Danza talking with the referee about one of the few different rules that we've kind of gotten into as this one's gone along. One of those is from your own defensive end, you can't just kick it or throw it into the netting, but I think the argument from Baltimore's perspective, it was all the way down at the other end. Maybe the same rule doesn't apply. Danza trying to get that rule to apply.
Yeah, and it looks like, and that's one of those things where you're kind of jumping leagues in different situations, because the argument that they were making.
One side of the field, so check out how close the Steaks will set up here with Danza.
Of course, no other person other than Danza to take this.
We'll see if he gives it off. Danza passes Colombo, blocked in front by Acosta.
Great work by Acosta.
That one bounces back for Bala, trying to gather some steam. Sends it for Yingling, taps it in front for Wright. Beautifully done by the Steaks. And Chris Wright scores the opening goal for Salisbury in exhibition play.
That's just a perfect little misdirection pass to set Wright up right in the middle of the field to perfection for a team that was struggling to get offensive opportunities. They set one right up on the plate there.
That was as good as it gets for Salisbury. We're going to take another look at it as the Steaks get it down the floor, and that was the end of it. But really, you've got to give some credit to the pass from Yingling to communication there. Colombo might have kicked it over to the referee, expecting into the arms of Palatar. Patrick, we've talked so much about how the wins and losses are going to be important. Even in exhibition play, it's something the Steaks are focusing on as Johnson now has an opportunity.
I think for a lot of the athletes that come back to the indoor game, it's like riding a bike. And so you may not be as sharp as you once were, but you have not lost that touch, that skill, and the IQ that comes with it.
Under 4 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Salisbury leads 1-0 thanks to a goal from Chris Wright. Seconds to go in the period. In front, it's knocked in the air by Danza. This one into the corner. Palatar came out of the box, so he couldn't use it.
Very aggressive at getting outside of the box.
Here's Danza, banks it off the wall into the box. Burnell Clark flying in, fires away. Salisbury tried to bank it in front, knocked away. Final 10 seconds. Danza with some physicality. Here's Colombo in the final seconds. In front, that shot is in at the buzzer. In the final seconds, the Steaks find the back of the net. It is Clarence Meachel.
Meachel was left in the middle, unguarded, and somehow there was enough time to find him.
That's going to wrap up the first quarter here in Crown Sports Center. The Steaks lead by a pair, thanks in large part to the buzzer beater from Clarence Meachel. It's 2-0 Salisbury as we head to the break. Salisbury Steaks lead their opening exhibition match of the fall season 2-0 over the Baltimore Kings. Patrick, it was a high-intensity, fast-paced, back-and-forth first quarter. What'd you see from Salisbury that allowed them to get out to that 2-0 lead?
It was a really exciting first period there, and faster than what I maybe expected after the offseason layoff, and this being the first period that they got back into. But what I loved out of the Steaks is their passing. They were able to provide chances back to the middle of the field and kind of throw the Kings off defensively on the back end. It was just misdirection, and that was really the key for why there's a 2-0 lead.
And we'll see some of the plays in that opening quarter that remind you of how intense the indoor soccer game is, as Johnny Palatar stood on his head with a couple of big-time saves, especially early on, to keep the game tied before the offense got going.
Yeah, it was a couple of big saves early, but then it's the direct misdirection back over to the middle. It's Chris Wright getting into the action first, ice cold, and then it's continued big blocks out of Palatar.
Great chances. Kurtulis did a nice job as well on the other end, but that goal coming in the final second for Salisbury from Clarence Meachel to make it a 2-0 game. As we head to the second quarter, Salisbury will begin with possession. It's Odie Johnson playing it back. Meachel tries to play it ahead for Johnson, who's always a threat to score. Johnson, one of the latecomers to the indoor scene a year ago, a very consistent face for the spring. One of the major differences this year, that for 3 lines that'll be very consistent. That's a big difference. He says last year he felt...
And so before Odie Johnson rudely interrupted us, talking about the depth of lines, it's just a...
You have to take a few minutes off. He gets right back on the field at full strength. And it was a chance for Matt Brower, a guy that is one of a few that is
organizationally that can move up.
So Kurtulis sends another one out into the netting. It's the 3rd time so far in this first half. Steaks have a chance. It's Pacheco! Augie Pacheco on the feed from Danza. It's the 3rd goal of the night for Salisbury. The Steaks lead by 2.
Just really sneaky from Pacheco. Comes flying in from that back line. Absolutely love the setup from Danza. It's just not much you could do if you're Kurtulis back there. Watch as Pacheco, when we show you this replay here, Pacheco's going to come just flying in right on the back, and there's just not much you can do.
As soon as Danza, exactly what they do, Danza comes back onto the turf. Odie.
Real physical battle here up against the boards.
Danza tries to send another tally in the frame. Steaks lead 3-1, and Patrick, the Steaks ahead by 2. What have they done well so far to sort of maintain this advantage that they built up in the opening course for Salisbury? For now, they'll have another set piece in the corner from a tough angle, but there's so many things you can do, whether it's use the wall, an oncoming player. 5 position players out there, so a lot you can do creatively. Danza had the assist on the last goal, goes back for Pacheco. Burnell Clark to Danza, building space, tries to feed to a cutting Burnell. Now it's Baltimore the other way, a nice sliding stop that. Waiting for his reinforcements to join him. They've had some success on these today. Danza stepping back as the referee's trying to get the wall to move back in appropriate length. Danza plays it off. That shot.
If you're going to have an aggressive goalkeeper like Palatar, you have to understand.
Maybe some extra time here in the second frame, unknowingly, to the host Crown Sports Center. And has it knocked away from him. Huge physical battle in front. Burnell Clark comes away with possession. David turns, sends it high. Kurtulis a bit out of position, going for the save. Burnell Clark tried to track it down. Here's a chance for Salisbury. It's sent wide. Clarkson and goalie, another Steak who's been inserted here for the final moment, sent that one just wide.
The Kings did not do a good job at the end of the first quarter of letting a goal go in that last minute. They cannot afford the same mistake here in the last 40 seconds.
Turning, shooting. Danza had his arm to his body, so not a handball as he blocked it down. Can Baltimore produce any chances here in the final 30 seconds? Timeout is taken with 23 seconds to go. Every opportunity a big one, especially in just a 2-goal game. Baltimore that sees Salisbury go ahead early, but Patrick, you mentioned it, Johnny Palatar was beautifully stopping all these shots in the opening quarter for Salisbury.
He was here, there, and everywhere in that first period especially, but then it was finally the Steaks that were able to get a shot to go through.
Chris Wright scores the opening goal for Salisbury as Palatar continued to make a couple more stops. But check out on the other end, Kamal Kurtulis, the goalkeeper for Baltimore, makes some stops, but Clarence Mitchell with the buzzer beater in the opening quarter.
And that got it to 2-0, but how would the Kings respond? They catch a huge break here. Palatar just didn't quite see it, and they got it within 1.
Alex Shipley, the goal scorer that time for Baltimore, but check out the Steaks on the set piece. Augie Pacheco walks down the floor and knocks it through.
And just a perfect little set piece to give it up to Pacheco, and then just a crazy series of events here.
Back and forth action, a great chance for Burnell Clark forward, so it looks like they might have Shipley just replay it.
Might be a record on how quick the first stoppage is in a
couple of years, how they respond to this halftime deficit, and they're also their first exhibition play of 2024.
Which I think overall for the Kings is going to be a good thing in the long term. Yes, is there a little bit of roster turnover?
Set up a guy like Shipley who already has 1 goal tonight.
And on one side to get some more opportunities.
Some of the most energy here in the third so far for Baltimore. It'll head back to Salisbury. That pass in front, knocked down. Good defense on the back end by Bala.
Yeah, but really love the idea from Granados there to try to get it back towards the middle.
Danza and Bala back. Salisbury in no particular hurry. wall, so it goes in favor of the Steaks. Salisbury will keep possession.
Yeah, a lot of whistles in the third quarter.
Danza setting things up. Burnell Clark lets it fly, and Kurtula saw it all the way in. Tries to clear it out himself, gets a good bounce off the wall. Here's Burnell Clark. He's stuck with it, and he finishes the job. David Burnell Clark on the board for the first time.
Just a terrific job by Clark. He stays with it, stays in the area, and that's what sometimes you can get rewarded to. Ball finds Clark, and Clark finds the net.
A loose ball after the initial stop, and Burnell Clark just fought for it. They were the first official members.
Their huddle, and there it is. They're laying out defensively how they want to play the remainder of this time as they are a person down, because it's only the first week that they've been back together in this friendly action. So you're able to try to figure things out on the fly, and that's where you are as the Steaks. I actually really liked what they were doing before they even went into this timeout, because having a guy like Odie Johnson, so athletically gifted, you can almost leave him on an island up top, and he was able to be really competitive with that back line of the Kings. Now, for the Kings, got to be aggressive, got to take your shots, look for your ricochet opportunities, because you're down by 3, and you got to find the back of the net.
You won't see much like this, where the Steaks trying to set up their defense with cones and a timeout on the field. That's what this is all about here in Major Arena Soccer League 2 and 3. The Kings in 3, that's where Saul. Shipley and Stewart going back and forth. Again, it's Johnson out there. Here's Shipley, gets it to the corner. Baltimore trying to break down this Steaks defense. Everything's been blocked. That one got by Palatar. The rebound is bashed home by Tony Araviakis. Second goal for Baltimore brings the Kings within 2. They take advantage on the man advantage.
And that's why you have to take advantage of getting shots on goal, because in indoor soccer, you're going to have the ricochet opportunities. Just did not work, because Araviakis was left with no one around him, and I don't care what goalkeeper you put on that back end, it's going to be tough to save. And Palatar has proven that he has just been jumping all around the box, and he's been making spectacular saves, but couldn't get to that one. So now it's 4-2. They had the man down, and now it starts feeling like, can the Kings capitalize off of it? Because the first goal they got felt gifted. It wasn't Palatar's best, because I believe some vision and some sightline issues. That one was a true goal. King off of that if you're the Kings.
A good response for a young group. Alex Shipley with a goal, and Araviakis just added the second. Meanwhile, on the Steaks side, 4 goals to their name. David Burnell Clark put in the most recent. Clarence Meachel, Chris Wright, and Augie Pacheco with the other 3 for Salisbury to create the difference. Danza will float it in. The Steaks back on the attack. It's Odie Johnson. Might have got his...
It looks like on that back end for the Kings, they bring in a guy that hasn't played a bunch of minutes, and that's Guys.
That's why you'll see guys like Palatar on the Steaks side, Kurtulis on the other side. As that one got through, Palatar right on the back door. It's mashed home for Baltimore. Edward Araujo makes it a 1-goal game.
Well, release the river, and all of a sudden we got some goals from the Baltimore Kings. They get one with the man down opportunity, and then this one they set up a silver platter right back to the middle of the field.
We'll take another look as this one finds its way in off the bounce ball. And Eduardo Araujo, the 3rd different goal scorer for Baltimore tonight. The final 15 minutes wind down between the Steaks and the Kings.
It's going to sound a bit redundant, but in all seriousness, it has to be Johnny Palatar, because he has made some saves tonight that if he doesn't make, this could be a Kings one insurance.
Steaks leading by 1. They scored a pair in the opening quarter, then 1 goal apiece in the second and third. for Baltimore. They went scoreless in the opening quarter, tallied 1 in the second and 2 in the previous period to come back within 1. Patrick, how big does that buzzer beater goal at the end of the first quarter now loom large at this point? A goal that it kind of just felt the clock was winding down. The Snakes sneak one in the just wide. Kurtulis has settled in as well in this second half.
An insurance buffer. But right now, you just are on your heels trying to withstand the momentum.
The referees say he just got there, so Baltimore will play it back from its own end. All a part of the Major Arena Soccer League pyramid. Kaukowski. Defender falls. Kaukowski with a look at it. Gets in front, knocked away by Danza, the last line of defense.
Of course it's the owner coming through. And the big defensive save here.
Danza's been a part of the indoor soccer game for a long time, a former all-league first-team player in League.
They're just going pound for pound, trying to find the back of the net.
And what do you think the Stakes can do on the other end to contend with that?
Well, they're going to have to look in quick counter transitions, right? Because they know that their heels are to the back of the goal, quite literally, because they're trying to withstand all of the shots that these Kings are going to rightfully so put up, because they need a goal. They have to put shots on goal. But if you're the Stakes, your best opportunity to try to get that insurance goal at this point is a quick transition strike. And that's where guys like Odie Johnson are going to have to play the key with getting them able to use their skills to try to set up a good scoring opportunity with rather himself or just one teammate, because most of the rest of the guys are going to still be back on the defensive end.
The Stakes will take over, but again, now it's Brower going down to knock it away. Boy, some physicality right outside the box. The shot is saved here. Did he save it with his hands outside the box? That would be illegal. Kurtulis also took a shot in the process.
And that's what I was about to say. Whether or not it's in the box or not, he takes the shot at the end of this play.
Not sure if it was the ball or a loose foot, leg, and Humphreys gives the pat on the back of the head for his keeper. So we'll take a look and try and see if there's anything that shows us what unfolded here. As the Stakes had an opportunity, the initial stop not with the hands, and then, he got kicked in the face with the ball. That is, boy, from a teammate, and now it looks like we've got a backup keeper heading in for Baltimore. The number is 7. That's Araviakis' number.
For to go down 2, Araujo is going to have to play aggressively and not play.
Shipley gives it off. That shot just high. Araviakis. It was in front. Stakes won a handball. A chance, and it finds the back of the net. Baltimore ties the game. What a finish for Tommy Humphreys. And now the Stakes getting some cards on the back end of it for arguing with an official. We've got a 4-4 tie. Let's take a look at how it all unfolded.
And a lot unfolds here because Palatar comes up. He's aggressive at the front end of the box to try to come up and make a play. Just got a touch on the back end. I mean, what a job by Humphreys just to get the ball with just over 4 to play.
And the Stakes get an opportunity. Here's Pacheco, up for Burnell Clark. Pushes ahead for Johnson. Can the Stakes get a shot on goal? Odie Johnson plays it ahead. The shot, and Pacheco pays it off. Salisbury takes the lead.
Set up beautifully by Johnson. You feed it right back to the middle in Pacheco, and you give the backup goalkeeper the first test of the day. What a game here at the DSN field.
Second goal of the game for Augie Pacheco. We'll take another look. Patrick, he's always had the flair for the dramatic. This time, puts Salisbury ahead.
It's great composure by Johnson here. He settles things down, sees the trailer in Pacheco, and then a perfectly placed bottom
game of the outdoor league for Salisbury. It was a 1-1 game, 30 seconds to play. It felt like we were destined for a tie. Augie Pacheco was the one who scored the game winner, and he comes.
Stays alive, 1:13 left to play.
Ahead, a chance for Baltimore. Fought up against the boards. It's sent down the floor, and it's off the outside. Palatar with it. He'll sling it down the floor. Fleming has to go back in net for Baltimore because the Steaks have possession. But Odie Johnson slips and falls. 3-on-2 for the Kings. Baltimore with a chance to tie, and it's in! Tony Arabiakis ties it at 5!
How did that just happen?
With under 20 seconds to go.
And this all happens because Johnson loses his footing. He broke his own ankles.
Kurtzulis makes his way back in. 17 seconds, clock not running. Steaks trying to take advantage. Now, Patrick, the one thing I'd love to know is where the microphone is and how we could get a hold of it. There it is. Ball in the middle of the field. Patrick, do you expect style of